One of the most beloved comedies of the 90s secretly emerged from a simple, heartfelt idea to show another side of life in the neighborhood. Friday, 1995, was a mission to show the fun and laughter in a place often depicted as only tough and troubled. What most fans never realized is that this film nearly didn't happen at all. Its making was filled with struggles, secrets, and moments that almost derailed the entire project. The story behind Friday is as colorful and complicated as the characters that made it iconic. In the early 1990s, most movies about black neighborhoods in Los Angeles were dark, violent, and heavy with social commentary. Films like Boys in the Hood and Colors painted grim pictures full of gang conflicts and hardships. Ice Cube, a central figure in the making of Friday, had even acted in Boys in the Hood and knew these stories well. But he and his longtime collaborator, DJ Pooh, felt those films only told one side of the story. They remembered their own youth, full of laughter and good times, the pranks, playful arguments, and celebrations of community life. They wanted to reflect that reality, the fun and the everyday moments that made their neighborhood vibrant and alive. From this desire grew the script for Friday, a largely autobiographical take on one single day in South Central. The main protagonist, Craig Jones, played by Ice Cube, was a character inspired by people Ice Cube knew, including family members. One key plot point, where Craig is fired from his job on his day off for allegedly stealing boxes, was based on an actual incident involving Ice Cube's cousin, a delivery driver. Smokey, the fast-talking, weed-smoking sidekick played by Chris Tucker, drew heavily from DJ Pooh's personal experiences. Even the neighborhood bully Debo and Craig's father, Pops, played by John Witherspoon, were characters seeded from real-life people the creators knew growing up. Making this movie, however, was far from straightforward. Ice Cube and DJ Pooh had a scrappy plan. Inspired by filmmakers like Robert Townsend, who funded Hollywood Shuffle using credit cards, and Kevin Smith's example with Clerks, a low-budget indie comedy filmed in a single location, they aimed to produce a small, authentic film with a tight cast to control costs. For a time, they considered shooting in black and white to save money and enhance the indie feel. Yet, the journey to securing financing was difficult. Several studios passed on the script before New Line Cinema finally saw its promise. Known for producing successful black comedies like House Party, New Line agreed to bankroll Friday with a relatively modest budget of around $3.5 million, but insisted on one major change. The role of Smokey had to be played by a bigger, more established name. Originally, DJ Pooh was slated to play Smokey himself. He was the Livewire inspiration in real life and had a natural comedic talent. The studio's demand, however, pushed them to seek a known actor or comedian for the role, leading to the pursuit of Chris Tucker. Cube had spotted Tucker during performances on the Def Comedy Jam and in smaller film roles, and believed he had exactly the right energy and style for Smokey. Although Tucker's initial audition was rough, he was tired from touring the stand-up circuit and hadn't properly read the script. The film's director, F. Gary Gray, saw potential and fought to give him a second chance. With encouragement from the cast, especially Angela Means, Felicia, who invited him over to rehearse, Tucker came back strong and secured the role. Filming took place on location in South Central Los Angeles, specifically on 126th Street between Haldale and Normandy, a neighborhood director F. Gary Gray knew intimately from his childhood. This authentic setting wasn't staged on sound stages or backlots, but was a real street with real residents. The houses used belonged to Gray's friends, and even Gray's own childhood home featured in a flashback scene. The production took great care not to stir up any local tensions. Cast and crew members were advised not to wear red, the color associated with the Bloods gang, to avoid provoking the nearby Crips, who wore blue. This practical caution found its way into the film's costume design. Smokey, Debo, Mrs. Parker, and other characters wore blue hues, an unintentional but authentic reflection of gang colors. The neighborhood was not always welcoming to the production. There was at least one incident with some locals who were resistant to the filming. Two real gang members sitting on a wall in a flashback scene were actually disgruntled neighbors refusing to comply with the filmmakers. They declined paid walk-on roles but stayed in the shots regardless. Despite these challenges, the cast embraced the environment, feeding off its energy and incorporating it into their performances. One of the most important factors behind Friday's success was the chemistry and improvisation of the cast, especially John Witherspoon. The veteran comedian who played Pops brought much of his role to life through improvisation. His comedic timing and delivery were so natural that many of his best lines weren't in the original script. This freedom on set helped shape the film's tone, allowing it to feel spontaneous, fresh, and genuine. Witherspoon's passing in 2019 marked a significant loss for the Friday family, underscoring how much his presence contributed to the film's legacy. Ice Cube himself juggled dual responsibilities, co-writing the film alongside DJ Pooh and starring as Craig. His background as a rapper with a storytelling flair helped shape authentic dialogue perfectly suited to his acting style. Cube's artistic vision dominated the project. His deep involvement as writer, actor, and producer laid the foundation for a very unified and personal film. Throughout the subsequent Friday sequels, he continued writing each installment and starring as Craig, maintaining the authentic voice audiences loved. Despite a tight schedule and limited budget, the filming experience was reportedly fun and collaborative. The set atmosphere reflected the close-knit feel of the neighborhood the film portrayed, and for many cast members, it was the start of enduring careers. Several cameos and future stars appeared, including a young Megan Good in one of her earliest roles and Michael Clark Duncan in a flashback scene. Friday's release in 1995 was a spectacular surprise. The film doubled its budget in its opening weekend and eventually grossed over $27 million worldwide. Critics gave positive reviews, and audiences embraced it as an iconic stoner comedy that portrayed black life with humor and heart. Following the original's success, two sequels, Next Friday 2000 and Friday After Next 2002, were produced with much larger budgets and expanded settings, becoming hits in their own right. Central to Friday's popularity was Chris Tucker's wild, energetic performance as Smokey. His improvised lines, quick wit, and dynamic chemistry with Ice Cube made Smokey a scene-stealing character. However, Tucker's absence from the sequels puzzled fans for years. Public explanations pointed to Tucker's growing religious beliefs, citing his reluctance to portray drug use and profanity. The story complicates, though, with other factors at play, including financial disagreements and an unspoken creative rift between Tucker and Ice Cube. Those close to the production hinted that the pair clashed over who deserved credit for the film's success, especially given Tucker's improvisations versus Ice Cube's original script. The lives of the Friday cast since the film's release reflect a mixture of joyful achievements and heartbreaking losses. John Witherspoon, known for his role as Pops, passed in 2019, leaving a substantial void in the franchise's heart. Tommy "Tiny" Lister Jr., who played the intimidating Debo, died in 2020, remembered fondly for his unique screen presence and deep personality. Comedian Bernie Mac, who played Pastor Clever, passed in 2008, and Anthony A.J. Johnson, Easel in the film, died in 2021. Their deaths remind fans of the real people behind the beloved characters and the fragility that extends beyond the screen. Meanwhile, surviving actors have experienced both career highs and personal tragedies. Regina King, who portrayed Craig's sister Dana, rose to superstardom, winning multiple Emmys and an Oscar alongside critical acclaim as a director. Yet, her success is tempered by the tragic loss of her son, a sorrow she has openly shared with fans. Nia Long, the enduring screen icon known for roles in Friday and beyond, continues her acting career with respect and admiration from audiences. Angela Means, who played the notoriously dismissed Felicia, struggled for years with public harassment tied to her character's meme status. She has since redefined her narrative through running a successful vegan restaurant focused on healing and resilience. Ice Cube's career blossomed beyond Friday into a major Hollywood enterprise, producing and starring in hit franchises such as Barbershop and Ride Along. Chris Tucker found global fame with the Rush Hour movies, cementing his place as an international star. Despite these individual successes, their shared legacy in Friday remained incomplete until recently. For over 2 decades, fans eagerly awaited a final Friday movie, but the franchise was held hostage by complex studio conflicts. Ice Cube was locked in a protracted legal and creative battle with Warner Brothers, which controlled the rights. Cube refused to produce another film without full creative control over his characters and story, feeling the studio didn't respect the franchise's legacy. This stalemate frustrated fans, cast and crew alike. In 2024 and 2025, a breakthrough came. New leadership at Warner Brothers created space for negotiation and compromise. The rights issues were finally resolved, signaling the green light for a new film, officially titled Last Friday. Ice Cube took on writing and starring duties, determined to honor the original spirit while delivering closure to the beloved story. Even better, Chris Tucker was reported to be returning, rekindling the legendary on-screen chemistry fans had missed. This upcoming film carries a bittersweet tone. It will reunite many of the original cast but must also pay tribute to fallen members like John Witherspoon, Tiny Lister Jr., Bernie Mac, and Anthony Johnson. Their legacies remain an inseparable part of what Friday means to fans worldwide. Beyond the jokes and memorable lines, Friday's story is one of family, resilience, and the enduring impact of a cultural landmark that transformed perceptions and brought joy to millions. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden stories behind Friday and its legendary cast, let us know your favorite moment from the movie in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into iconic films, and tap the bell icon so you never miss a new upload.